Got a quorum.
All right, well, we'll get it going. So we will call this meeting to order. This is the July 15th, 2020 meeting of the Citizens Advisory Committee of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District. We'll call this meeting to order at 6:01. We will begin with roll call. Are you going to take that, Nolani?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Committee member Judy Takaya,
All here.
committee member Andrew Nielsen, committee member Phil Marsh, committee member Sue Lester,
Present.
committee member Judy Gilo,
Present.
committee member Seth Greener,
Here.
committee member Monty Fields, committee member Dicky Fernandez,
Present.
committee member Daniel Baum,
Present.
committee member Elodie Katz,
Present.
and Chair Mike Carey.
Present.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I recognize that he's not here, but I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the entire Citizens Advisory Committee to wish President Ferryman a happy birthday today.
Oh, it's his birthday? Oh,
Oh,
gee.
sorry, Arlene, I should have told you. No.
Yeah, I would have had a.
Okay, the next order of business is public comments. Scanning the names. I don't recognize any member of the public as part of the list of attendees, unless I'm mistaken. Hearing.
No, you are correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 1. That would be approving the minutes of our May 13th meeting. We have the next 2 agenda items are approving the minutes of May 13th and May 20th. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review those minutes. We'll begin with the ones from May 13th, 2020. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I can
Second.
Sorry.
Oh,
Any discussion or clarifications? No. All right, hearing none, call for the vote. All those approve the minutes of May 13th, say aye.
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 Chair
Aye.
Carey, I apologize. This needs to be a roll call vote if you don't mind. I'll just
Aye.
go through the list.
Aye.
Committee member Takaya,
Aye.
committee member Nielsen,
Aye.
committee member Lester,
I'm going to abstain from voting because I did not attend that meeting.
thank you. Committee member Gilo,
I'll go with Sue Lester on that one.
okay. Committee member Greener,
It's Grinder. Aye. Yes.
committee member Fernandez,
Aye.
committee member Baum,
Aye.
committee member Katz,
Aye.
and Chair Carey.
Aye,
Motion carries.
motion carries. Okay, moving on. The minutes from our meeting the following week on May 20th. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the May 20th, 2020 CAC meeting?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. All those in, is there any discussion or clarification from anybody in the group? Hearing none, we'll call roll call for the vote.
Committee member Takaya,
Aye.
committee member Nielsen,
Aye.
committee member Lester,
Aye.
committee member Gilo,
Aye.
committee member Griner,
Aye.
Committee Member Fernandez,
Aye.
Committee Member Baum,
Aye.
Committee Member Katz,
Aye.
and Chair Carey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. That was easy. Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda. That is the overview of the June 22nd, 2020 Board of Directors meeting. I've read the report of the meeting. Are we having an oral report about it from Scott or anybody, or?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. I can brief a little bit about what happened on that meeting. The first item on the agenda was the consider voting one candidate for the California Special Districts Association's Board Director seat C, which is the Southern Network part of CSDA. CSDA is a organization very similar to the League of California Cities that promote good governance and offers a lot of training opportunities for special districts. And it also they lobby the state legislators in Sacramento on special district behalf. The CSDA has several regions that have board of directors. Each region, I think, has three board directors in each region in A, B, and C. And I think there's 9 regions, I believe. And so Arlene Schaefer, Secretary Schaefer, is an incumbent on the CSD Board of Directors, so she's up for re-elections. And so they had a very competitive elections this year, and I'm pleased to announce that Secretary Schaefer did win her seat.
I know, it says 100%.
So congratulations to Secretary
I
Schaefer.
put it in, it would be
It wasn't, I think it wasn't, she can probably talk about this, but it wasn't, it was a bit of a nail biter because one of the candidates, Greg Mills from Serrano Water District, which is located in Villa Park, he had a coalition of special districts in Orange County, and they were going to a lot of special districts lobbying for him to unseat Secretary Schaefer. And Mesa Water District was going to a lot of those meetings and doing a lot of that lobbying for his efforts. And unfortunately, a lot of special districts in Orange County did vote for Greg Mills. But the good thing for Secretary Schaefer and is that the southern region it doesn't include Orange County. It includes all of Los Angeles County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, San Diego County, Imperial County. So a lot of members, and so we're very fortunate for Secretary to be re-elected to the seat and represent MSD and special districts. So again, congratulations to Secretary Schaefer.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you.
I have this is Sue. I have a comment about the board member minutes, if that's okay.
So which item? Number the 1 or 2?
It would be under attorney report, item number 1.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the overview. Okay, yes.
Yeah. I just want to bring to everyone's attention and just acknowledge publicly that hats off to you, Scott Carroll, and this is why. The board approved to give this man a 3.4% increase in his salary, which he is eligible for under the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, and he declined it. And I think that it's important that we recognize this and we point out that there are very few people in life in general that turn down an increase for themselves. And off the top of my head, I cannot think of any person in any special district or city, state, or federal position that would turn down an increase or benefit on their own behalf. And this is not the first time that Scott has done this as the general manager of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District. So in light of the money that the district has spent on additional funds to CR&R, and increases that the ratepayers are experiencing over the next few years, and the fact that we are in a global pandemic and a lot of people are out of work. For you to do this, Scott, is not only selfless, but it shows what a man of integrity you are and what an inspirational leader you are. And I know I beat you up sometimes with a lot of questions, but I think it's important that everybody recognize that integrity is not something you can teach someone. And you do truly lead that district by example. And I'm proud to know you. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. That was a very nice comment.
Very nice, very nice.
Good job.
Didn't have to say
Very
that.
nice.
That was very nice.
Very honorable, Scott. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I
Thank
do have to
you.
make one correction though. So there are, I can't say that I'm the only one that's declined a salary increase. There are other city managers and other leaders that have declined a salary increase. I've seen those in newspapers and stuff. So I'm not the only one, but it's just the right thing to do during our current situation. I'm very happy where I'm at. I'm very pleased with the support I get from the board, staff. It's a great organization to work for. I'm so happy to be here. But so thank you very much for those comments, though. It's very much appreciated.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
If there's anything else on this staff report or on this overview, I'll be more than happy to go over with you. But it's pretty self-explanatory. So, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Hearing none. Going once, going twice. Hearing no questions or clarifications on the board meeting overview, we will move to our next agenda item, number 4. Consider approving the fiscal year 2020-21 goals and objectives schedule for our CAC. I had the opportunity to meet with Scott and Director Uten remotely on June 18th to go over the goals and kind of assist in helping the framework of what we'll be discussing in this group through the next year. Are you presenting on this, Scott? Or
No, well, yeah, I can just say a few things, Mr. Chairman. So you're right. So according to our employee handbook, or I'm sorry, a Citizen Advisory Committee handbook, once a year, the chairman or the chairperson will meet with myself and the president. President Fairman was unavailable at that time, so Vice President Uten stepped in, and we will go over some topics and goals and objectives that we believe might be good for the CAC to tackle this year. And so we came up with a list. We shared it with the board of directors. The board of directors liked the list as well. And so here it's for your review and comments and suggestions. If there's something we're missing, staff's happy to put it on the agenda or put it on this list. But this is just really for discussion. It's just something you would like to talk about this year. All these items on the list do comply or do follow our new strategic plan. So it falls through with that plan. So that was one of the reasons why we picked these topics. But if there's something we're missing, and there's something you want to talk about, we're more than happy to put it on the list. So it's really up for the CAC for discussion now on what you want to do.
I think it was a very lively discussion that we had in determining these goals and objectives. And based on the past, when we have done this, it's more of a framework of what we're hoping to accomplish. And there's always eventually other items that get added to this for each of the meetings typically, but I think it's a very good framework. Has the group
I agree.
Have you guys had a chance to review this document or calendar and have any input or suggestions?
I think it's a great list. The only thing that I have to add, and it isn't necessarily part of this list as it would be content for everything on this list, and that's if we could make sure that somewhere in all these things we incorporate options for our community for ways to recycle things and be compliant with what we want them to do now that Orange Coast College recycling has been taken kind of out of the loop as an option. I think that would be helpful.
Very good.
Great. Are there any other discussion points?
I like the way it looked, being kind of new to this whole situation. I was impressed with the read.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
This is Elodie. I just really wanted, sorry, Andrew. I was just to say I really liked the action items that were attached to just about every agenda item. I thought that was really strong, and I'm glad that's changed for this year. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you.
I was just going to ask, looking way ahead to one of the January bullet points about building relationships with local businesses. I was just curious if kind of the idea was that CAC members would get proactive and potentially try to establish some of those relationships. I guess if only as an effort to kind of start thinking ahead, and what was kind of the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, definitely. That you're absolutely. That's something we want to focus on this year is to get the CAC more involved in the community if you're interested, and that is to be more interactive with the community. We were hoping, obviously there's not going to be any special events this year because of COVID, but one idea is like when concerts in the park, when we have our booths, we would love to have a CAC member in the booth and help. Maybe give out information to the public or help answer some questions. But, that's obviously we're not going to be able to do that this year. But as the January item, as far as building a relationship with business, that's something definitely we want to look into is how the CAC can help get our message out there to the public. Help us, be our representative and help us get that word out to what needs to be done to recycle and to divert more away from the landfill or to don't flush flushable wipes down the toilets. You'd be kind of like our ambassador. So that's something we're looking into.
I can't recall, has there been any announcement or any decision regarding the fish fry and community run this year?
Yeah, they're not having it.
Not happening.
Fish fry's not happening this year. For sure, it's been 100% canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Thanks, Phil.
wouldn't anticipate any
Hello.
events for the rest of the year.
I don't think so either. Are there any other comments regarding the goals and objective schedule?
Yes, Mike, I have a comment. This is Art Perry.
Go
I
ahead.
think Sue has a great idea, and I would think we should add that to the September meeting because the citizens need to know how they can recycle their items. So I thought maybe that would be a good discussion item for you guys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just an idea I had.
No, it's a great idea.
And also, we have that open house that time, and we might utilize the Citizens Advisory Committee with that too, because we had such a good turnout in our parking lot, and everybody came to just see what was going on, and we had our trucks there, and so I would think hopefully we'll repeat something like that.
We'll have to take that on a day-by-day basis, Secretary Sheehan, based on COVID situation.
Yeah.
I'm not anticipating we're going to be able to have an open house this year. I don't think this year, but we'll have to take it on a pretty much like a day-by-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
I
I was just going to ask a random question to Director Perry's point. Are the sortable recycles being sorted currently, or is that kind of gone on and off a bit?
No, we just received information from CR&R I think just past week that because COVID is rampant right now, they were planning on reopening their processing facilities this month, but because of COVID getting worse, they just can't do it. They're still recycling the organics and the food scraps. So that's still being taken to the AD facilities. But as far as the recyclables goes, like the aluminums and the plastics and the glass, unfortunately, they're not getting separated, and they're not being recycled.
I was thinking along the lines of the open house that Arlene mentioned. Maybe with the money that was used on that, we could do a 5 or 10 minute individual kind of tour through the sanitation district building by individuals from the CAC meetings. Maybe someone could take turn one day doing some part and then another person another day, and then you could just Facebook blast those out. At least hopefully get that along the same ideas that Arlene was mentioning, since we won't be able to do it in person.
Make like do like a virtual tour.
Like a virtual tour. I could do a 5-minute virtual tour in one area, and then Mike, the chairman, could do a 5-minute tour in another area. And that way it would be different members of the CAC who are doing it. We could kind of introduce ourselves, and then we could blast those on Facebook.
Mhm.
And then possibly with a board member at each one as well, or
Something along those lines.
that's a great idea.
Okay, well, let's look into that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for helping.
I have a question, and I'm happy to do it if you think it would be worth the time. But what about if we went to Costa Mesa Television and worked with the city in doing some type of, I don't know, something to educate our residents and our businesses during the pandemic as it relates to how they can help the environment and how, like, what they need to do their part during the time where OCC Recycling Center isn't available, and maybe things like that. Because I know that we're separate from the actual, quote, city of Costa Mesa government, but at the end of the day, we should all be on the same page and want the same things for our environment and for the cleanliness of our city. Do you guys think that would be worth trying?
Yeah. Let's look into it. Let me sit down with my staff and explore how we can do that, and maybe we can present to the CAC in an upcoming meeting, and you can let us know if we're going in the right direction, and see what we can do.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, using that Costa Mesa minute and the board and the city council meetings. That's a really good idea.
Sure.
Well, and I know that Dean Bora and everybody over there at the city, when it comes to the Costa Mesa Minute, they've been extremely helpful when we needed something for the fish fry or a marathon or an event in the city to kind of get the community to, support that event. I would think that this would be something that they would absolutely be on board with.
I agree.
100%.
Great feedback. Any other comments or suggestions? No? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to
This is
agenda
an action
item number
item.
5.
Mr. Chairman, this is an action item. If I get approval.
Okay, yeah, consider approving the fiscal year 2020-21 goals and objectives. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve. This
I
is Sue.
second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, all those in,
Roll call vote.
roll call. There's no further discussion, we'll do roll call.
Committee Member Takaya,
No discussion, I'll vote aye.
Committee Member Takaya,
Aye.
Committee Member
Discussion.
Nielsen,
Aye.
Committee Member Marsh,
Approve.
Committee Member Lester,
Aye.
Committee Member Gilo,
I approve.
Committee Member Griner,
Approved.
Committee Member Fernandez,
Aye.
Committee Member Baum,
Aye.
Committee Member Katz,
Aye.
Chair Carey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on to agenda item number 5. The Costa Mesa Sanitary District Waste Composition Review for 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to turn this over to Nabila Guzman. She's going to take lead on this report.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nabila.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. According to documents submitted by CR&R Environmental Services, the district had a diversion rate of 60.51% for fiscal year 2018-2019. But most of the recycling was made up of green waste. The district hired solid waste consultant Mike Vallier to perform a waste composition study on the mixed waste carts. These studies are performed through random representative sampling, and the studies are completed by dumping the vehicle loads after each route completion onto a large area and spreading the contents into a uniform height of about 2 feet. A random grid sampling process is then performed to capture a representative sample for sorting into material types. Typically, these material types get broken down into different types of plastics, paper, cardboard. But since ours was specifically for green waste and food, these were the two main waste streams looked at. Based on the waste composition study results, the consultant supported the organic waste makes up about approximately 25% of the waste in the mixed waste cart. Based on the load sample, the mixed waste carts may contain an average of 15.27% green waste. When the consultant further analyzed the total tons collected during fiscal year 2018-2019, it was determined that there was approximately 5,007 with 18 tons of green waste that were landfilled instead of recycled at the AD facility. CMSD is concerned with the high percentage of organic waste found in the mixed waste cart, since the district offers a separate organics cart for this material. Additionally, green waste that is found in the mixed waste cart is too contaminated to recycle. Instead, it was taken directly to the landfill and used as an alternative daily cover. As of January 1st of this year, AB 1594 mandates that this material will no longer be considered recyclable, and instead it's going to be considered waste, and no recycling credit will be given to jurisdictions. Due to this change, all the green waste that continues to be placed in the mixed waste cart will not only be landfill, but it also contaminates the recyclables in the cart and might contaminate the route load. This means that there is less recyclable material taken from our waste stream, and more landfilling is being done. This directly affects the district's goal of achieving 75% diversion. Attached to the staff report is the consultant's waste composition review and some pictures taken on site during the study. The district has a goal to reduce contamination by 10%. CMSD is asking the committee for strategies to reduce contamination in the mixed waste cart. Currently, staff is doing the following. We are working with the district's communication consultant to launch 2 awareness campaigns. One of the campaigns will focus on the organics recycling program, and the second one will bring awareness to keeping recyclables clean in the mixed waste cart. The firm will also assist staff with social media postings to bring awareness to our programs and services and assist residents with disposing of items correctly. Staff continues to include articles and pictures in the quarterly newsletter as reminders of what is supposed to be placed in each cart. And lastly, this week, myself and the code enforcement officer were going to begin tagging organic carts that were contaminated, but due to the rise of positive COVID-19 cases, this has been temporarily postponed. I am working with our code enforcement officer on safety measures that we can take to hopefully get this started by the beginning of August. This concludes my report. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Nabila. That was a very good report. Before any of the committee members provide their comments, I just wanted to, again, overview what we're trying to focus on here is to decrease the contamination in our mixed waste carts. What we're seeing is, unfortunately, we're seeing a large number of tonnage of green waste going to landfill that should go to the AD facility. So this was the strategies that we came up with, and we'd like to hear the comments from the committee members. I also believe what was just discussed earlier, using City of Costa Mesa's resources like their Costa Mesa TV could also be a good source to help remind residents not to throw their green waste in their mixed waste carts. So we'll definitely bring that back to the table and look into that as well. But But just like to hear what your comments are. Do you have any suggestions on how we can reduce contamination? I'm hoping all the CAC members, community members, they're not putting their green waste or their food scraps in the mixed waste, and we're hoping you're putting the organics card. And again, this would be a good opportunity to be that ambassador for us and say, hey, this is how I do it, and how it's successful. This is how you can do it too. That's all I have to say. So I'm open to any comments or suggestions community members have.
So I have a question. So what we're talking about is when we have our trash cans, we have our trash can where we put our green waste into. It's the yard or from the sink.
Yes.
And then we have our other trash cans, right? So
Correct.
you were
The
talking
other
about
trash cart is a mixed waste cart. That one's supposed to be for normal trash and recyclable. So your Amazon boxes, your cans, bottles, glass. And in the report, there is specific information of what was found in each route. So there was 3 loads taken. So in the first route taken, the consultant saw a higher than normal amount of textiles. So that could be clothes. In one of the other loads, they also found HHW, which we have a separate program in place where we remove household hazardous waste material from each household for free. So in the mixed waste cart, which is supposed to be for trash and recycling, we are noticing a lot of food and green waste, which then, as it sits in your cart, it contaminates all the recycling material.
right. And so my question comes back to somebody's working in their yard and they have extra tree parts or I guess other green. What they're supposed to do is not put it into the mixed waste trash and wait until the next week and put it into their green waste trash?
Yes, every household is allowed up to 2 organic carts in their base price or for free and no extra charge. They can request if they have a big yard, they could request a 3rd cart for an extra $9 a month. If it's a one-time, we have residents that clean out their yard once or twice a year. If they have a lot of excess green waste, they can bag it up in big trash bags, and then we do a large item pickup for it. So that ensures that recycling, that material won't contaminate their weekly waste stream.
And so I would expect in my neighborhood that's not well understood, that things like yard clippings or tree parts, to not put that into the mixed waste trash. I don't think that's well understood by my neighbors. I see people working on trees or their yard, and they'll put it into that trash can because they have a relatively small green waste trash, and they may not want to wait till the next week or for a large item pickup, because that might be several more weeks.
It's good to know. Okay, that's good to say. That's good. That's what we're trying to know, that that's why we brought in Tri-Peppy Smith, is to get the word out there for us. Is here's these programs available for the residents. That's what we assume, that many residents don't know about some of these programs or how to properly dispose their green waste. So thank you for your comments.
Sure.
In the photos, I was surprised to see the large amount of organic waste that was mixed in with the regular carts, with the mixed waste. Yeah, that's an amazing amount of organics.
Yeah, we were caught surprised too. We always thought we did pretty good job of getting the word out, but apparently we need to do a little bit more. It was quite surprising. So that's, so like Nabila says, our goal is to reduce it by 10%.
Chair Carey, I have Committee Member Fernandez, whose hand is raised to speak, if you'd like to call on him.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So I first want to recognize and thank Nabila. About a year ago, I contacted Costa Mesa Sanitary regarding this particular item because I am an HOA president for a small HOA in Costa Mesa, and she was really helpful in giving us options regarding not only solid waste, but all the legislation that's going on right now. So thanks a lot, Nabila, for everything you did for us. The next thing I want to say is our situation here is it's a small HOA with 12 single family homes. We all take our waste to a dumpster. we have 2 dumpsters, one for mixed waste and one for recyclables. And then starting in January of 2021, we'll have the green waste. And that was per the recommendation that I got from Mike Ballier regarding legislation and so on. But the one thing that I'm observing with the recyclables is our community is throwing stuff into recyclables that they shouldn't be throwing there. And I wonder if better labeling into those bins might help. Color coding the bins, because as you all say, it seems that people are just throwing things without knowing where to place them. And I know it will be an investment, because how do you get all the contractors to agree on a color coding system and so on? But I wonder what the rest of you have to say. So that's the one observation I have.
Great, thank you.
I think we could definitely explore looking into that color coding or some way to get people's attention. We'll have to sit down with CR&R and see that maybe we can put some kind of color coded stickers on the lids. But it's plausible. Yeah. What do you think, Nabila? Is that something we can look into?
I think it's a great idea. Again, I think the district has the 2-cart system, thinking it was going to be easy for residents, not having to deal with the 3 carts. But it seems like it might be doing more harm than good.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
I have a comment. I think that the district does actually a really good job in trying to educate people. I think the biggest problem right now is the pandemic. You have people, say your average family, where most of the people in that family spend anywhere from 6 to 8 hours outside of the house on a daily basis. That's gone now. So we have a lot of more people staying at home, and I think your average family is just generating way more trash. They fill one bin and then they start putting stuff in other ones. And the reason I say that is because my mom lives alone. She's a senior. She lives alone. She has 3 bins. My sister's been visiting her for 1 month. She fills up all 3 bins now because my sister works from my mom's house and they're generating twice the amount of trash. And I'm just wondering, with all these people staying home, if they don't have space for the stuff, I would venture a guess that 99% of the people cleaning out their closets and doing yard work and doing all these other things, they're probably not going to set their trash aside until it can go in the right bin. And that's probably me just being a little pessimistic, but that's kind of what I think the biggest part of the problem is.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. And I also think that with today, everybody getting things from Amazon and all the boxes coming in, and when people fill up their trash cans because of all the things coming into the box and they don't break the boxes down, they end up taking up more space in their trash can with an unbroken down box. And so just to your point, that the trash cans get filled up more and more, and you can't maybe put them in the right place, especially because you've got so much cardboard that's maybe not broken down.
Chair Carey, I have 3 individuals who would like to speak as well. I have Committee Member Gilo, Committee Member Marsh, and Committee Member Baum, and Secretary Arlene Schaefer, who would like to speak.
Okay, out of respect for the board, why don't we let Arlene go first?
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say that I think, we try so hard to get into the newsletter all these important facts, but I think redundantly that we need to still add some more and let them know that 3 times a year that they can put out things for their hazardous waste. They can do things that they need to do as far as with the green again. And, being that now we're under a different kind of way of life, that we are looking forward to, them respecting what we need. Because I know we all do something like that. When I'm cutting branches too, it's just like, okay, the branches are all done, but the green is all filled too. So, you know, you have to worry about that. So I understand what you're saying. But anyway, just my thought is that this newsletter is so vital because it goes everywhere and everyone sees it. And it's in a couple of languages, so that's good. Just a thought.
Committee Member Gilo.
Okay, I'm speaking for myself and all of the other people in the city who do not belong on Facebook or choose to go on Facebook or any of those other named organizations in that world. And I'm speaking for someone old and well, this is me. Now, I keep asking about what goes into what cart and I get green waste. Okay, I stuff that I consider green waste. Recently chopped down a very tall, large bird of paradise. But I've been so strained over where I should put the pieces because I thought I was allowed in my green waste. I wasn't allowed to put on anything that was like 3 inches in diameter of a piece of waste, 3 inches around on the, but maybe 2 feet long or longer because I'm trying to cut up this giant bird of paradise. And so the other day, the collection in my trash, I had a whole lot of big hunks and large leaves, which I consider green waste, but I didn't think you considered, or this, or no, yeah, you considered it was green waste. But what else can I say what it is? So it went in the big trash can. I did have much smaller stuff that went into the light green colored can. I don't think I'm the only one who doesn't know in Costa Mesa that doesn't know that you guys are doing a great job and that you have all this, the ways you categorize and where this waste, what kind of waste is. I don't think most of us either, well, at least my bunch, are conversant in some of the effects of all of it. So, where do you want me to put? Someone, one of your people told me at one time that having a stick that was more than an inch round but long wouldn't be advisable in that can. So where do you want it? I guess I'm just kind of torn, and the giant bird of paradise example is only one of my other things going on out there. So you do a great job, but there's some of us who are behind the scenes.
Sure.
Times.
What we'll do for you is we'll be sure to get you some information about the organic recycling program and tell you specifically what goes into your green cart. Basically, anything that's live, goes in your green cart. That's branches, leaves, anything that's edible, anything that's live from landscape can go in your green cart, organic cart. So, but we'll send you some more information. So you can have that available. So if you're not sure in the future, then hopefully you'll have that information. If not, you can always call us and we can tell you. But I think it's a good example. I think you're a good example that there are people out from I hear from the community members. There are people out there that do not know what material goes to where. So the whole idea that we have these tags on the carts and saying, oops, did you know you shouldn't have put your green waste in the mixed waste cart? It should go here. We're hoping that will have some kind of an impact on the community.
Yeah. Just like pet waste, people don't realize that you walk the dog, but you could put it in the green.
Absolutely.
Committee Member Marsh, would you like to comment now?
Yeah, and I'm kind of going back to Committee Member Fernandez and his being on the HOA. I too am on the HOA at my condominiums. It's about 57 units. And Director Perry's been there, so he can even discuss it too. We have massive amounts of lawns and gardening and things like that. And we have a landscape service here every Thursday. But what we don't have are we only have mixed carts, I should say. There's no organic carts or anything. So what the landscape service does is they'll do their mowing first, and there's a ton of it, and they'll just look around for any cart that's out there ready for C&R to pick up, and they'll just start throwing the grass in those carts. I would be, as an HOA member, I would be willing to work with either the board or CR&R to come up with some kind of a dumpster of some sort, and we have room for it, where all this waste could be put in that dumpster instead of just going in our carts. If anybody, if that's something the board wants to work on, I'd sure get involved in that. And we have a lot of it, I guarantee you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. Thank you. That's great. Thanks for
one more thing too, where my condos are connected to Mesa Verde Country Club. And I'm assuming, obviously they have green waste like crazy. I assume that's taken care of, how they handle their green waste on this golf course, I assume.
I don't know. I don't know how they handle the green waste.
If they're out there cutting every day, I watch them every day, cutting different greens, so I would assume there's a lot of it.
And they're mandated to deal with it now as well.
Okay. I mean, maybe all taken care of. I just don't know. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Committee Member Baum.
Yes, I have similar concerns and situation as Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Marsh, except that I've been living in the same apartment complex for 10 years, and I'm surrounded by apartment complexes where there's probably, compared to the 12 houses or the 57 condos that Mr. Marsh has, we have hundreds, if maybe 1,000 residents in a little area with only 2 dumpsters, one being a recyclable dumpster and one being a trash dumpster. And I know in my experience that people just fill them up haphazardly. They don't, recycle goes here, what goes there. They're just throwing bags in and out. And I don't think that maybe the apartment complexes are being looked at enough in that respect.
I think you're right, and the thing is, we don't service all the apartment complexes, and that's another issue, right? And something we would like to do is to provide service to all multifamily units. But Committee Member Baum, do you know? Do we service you, or is it? Sounds like if you have been, it sounds like it's someone else provides that service.
I'm not familiar with, I thought that Costa Mesa Sanitation District took care of all the areas around here. I didn't know that we could be serviced by someone else, so I haven't really looked to see who did it.
What's the name of your complex?
I'm right down the street from the sanitation board. I'm the Eaves by Avalon. I'm on Paularino Avenue, literally a quarter mile from the sanitation building.
Nabila, do we know who serves that area?
No, we do not service that one. It sounds like he has a dumpster.
Yeah.
There are
So in those
there are two dumpsters, yes.
Yeah.
So if he has dumpsters, we do not service that, but I do know that there's smaller apartment complex in that area that some of them have carts, some of them have dumpsters.
Yeah, there are no carts here. It's you take your own trash out to the dumpster and people just, like I said, just throw it in. So
Yeah,
Wow.
unfortunately, we don't service that area. And we would like to, and we tried to have that discussion with the city, but they don't want to go there.
see.
It might be a benefit. I don't know I know we've talked about this in great length, but I don't know that it's come up since we've gotten new members on the CAC, because I didn't know until I became a member of the CAC, is that the Costa Mesa Sanitary District has the contract for all residential single-family homes. And any multifamily or apartment buildings or anything like that, those are contracted by whoever that particular entity decides to call and contract. And there's, I think, 11 viable trash haulers that the city of Costa Mesa allows. So if you're in a single family home, you don't have a choice on who your trash hauler is. But if you are in an apartment complex and you're in charge of the trash at that apartment complex, you do have a choice as to who picks up the trash. And I don't know that everybody on the CAC knew that.
Yeah.
I was unaware. Thank you, Sue.
Did not know that. Thank you.
Businesses as well can choose their own hauler.
Committee Member Katz, would you like to comment?
Yes, thank you. With the goal being trying to reduce the organic green waste in the mixed waste containers, I was kind of dividing it into yard waste and food waste. Yard waste, three things. To committee members Fernandez's point about signage, I do think, I'm not sure if it's feasible to redo the trash cans, but certainly having a mixed waste container that's green and then also referring to green waste in the other bin, it certainly some sort of new sticker maybe could help with that. My 2-year-old son and I love every Friday, we live in a single family home. We go around Mesa North every Friday to do garbage truck safari. And I see tons of neighbors, and this was before the quarantine. Lots of neighbors will do tree trimming or yard work, and they'll properly fill up their organic green waste bin. And then if they have leftovers, like we've discussed previously today, they'll dump it in their mixed waste. And I'm curious, since all the ratepayers are essentially already paying for a second organics bin, why they are not being provided with the organics bin. I'm assuming it might be because not everyone has the space or wants it. But if we do go ahead with that tagging protocol, it might be nice to include something that says, hey, if you would like an extra green bin, organics waste bin, I'm sorry, that, it would be available to you at no extra cost, something like that. Because the neighbors I have talked to had no idea they could request a second organics bin at no additional cost.
Oh, see, this is
Yeah,
good.
I was surprised. They were very relieved. And then I also mentioned it to some gardeners as well. The gardeners seemed very interested because they always are reluctant to put it in the mixed waste, but they didn't know that a second organics bin was an option either. So I'm not sure. I didn't have any good ideas about how to reach out to gardeners or landscape associations, but maybe there's something there. And then with food waste, I remember at the fish fry last year, I had a huge corn on the cob, and I was really distressed about putting it in a trash can. And I was wondering if, since the district is so good about putting recycling bins out at the community events like the concerts in the park and the fish fry, obviously this would be post-COVID, but perhaps we could consider putting organics bins at the community events to help start to encourage people what food waste can go in and start to promote that kind of behavior. So
Yeah, no, that's a good suggestion. We did one of the fish fry events, I think it was maybe about 2 years ago, we did put out organic carts for food waste, and unfortunately we just got a lot of contamination. People were still throwing their trash in it.
Okay.
And it got a bit of a challenge. I think it doesn't mean we shouldn't stop trying to do it. I know, maybe we talk to Waste Management, because when they have their their waste management, their golf up in Phoenix, Arizona. They always take food scrap carts everywhere, and I'm curious. Maybe we could talk to them and say, well, what's the contamination level? How do you encourage people not to throw the trash into that?
That's a great idea.
Other organizations.
And then I don't know if there's, that last thing I had for food was, I don't know if there's any opportunity to work with elementary schools locally to try to train the kids who might be more, I don't know, as part of the school program for recycling and just generally improving the planet, kind of rolling it, since we already have the battery program and some other things.
Yeah, good comment. We do have a zero waste lunch program, and
that's true. That's true.
And so that seems to be work very well. We are looking at revising our curriculum for the schools to entice the teachers and the students to learn about recycling, and also, most importantly, retain it. Retain that information. You know how you're gonna retain it and remember that when they go back home. So we're working on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Committee Member Fernandez, did you have a comment?
I do know.
Yes, I do. One thing I wanted to clarify is that single-family homes do have a choice, and I know that because we actually do not contract with CRNR, not because we don't want to, but when I moved here, the single-family homes have a contract with some other contractor, and they have a common waste bin. And I know other HOAs have the same situation with single family homes. And the one thing that I found out that we have a problem with is that we do not have the space for those big containers because these communities were designed back in the 80s, and you know, they have one area for the big trash container. We've been able to fit the recycling one, but we really don't know where we're going to put the third one for the green waste. And I know other HOAs of similar size are facing the same situation. Mike Bellier has been really nice in guiding us, but we still haven't figured it out.
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's a challenge. That's why when we make sure when there's new development going on in the city that the development gets a will serve from us saying that yes, there's room to put their trash carts. That's very important for any kind of new development. But you're right, Committee Fernandez. The older homes is challenging. It's very challenging.
Director Perry, you had a comment?
Yes, I want to refer back to Phil Marsh's complex. It's served in the mixed waste carts by CRNR already. And I think they have an area that they could use to put a number of like 90-gallon green waste carts that the gardener could use to dump instead of putting in the mixed carts. I think if Phil wanted to look into that, and if CRNR would be willing to pick those up, because they come on the same day, I believe they come on. Phil has Thursday pickup, and the
Thursday.
They have Thursday pickup, and then green waste comes on Thursday. If we could have some type of arrangement with CRNR to drop off 4 or 5 of those 90 gallons that the gardeners could use, that would be a step in the right direction, and maybe with other complexes also.
Yeah, that makes it easier for us if they're already using CRNR. So that's easier for us. It makes it easy for us. Definitely.
You'd have to have CRNR agree to it, but I think they'd be more than willing.
Sure, definitely.
Those are my comments.
I don't see any other hands risen for comments.
Great. Thank you, everyone. These are good comments. Good. We're going to go back to our offices and discuss all these great suggestions and comments, and then we'll report back to the committee on a later date on results of our program.
Thank you. Very lively discussion.
Thank you.
Very informative. I think if we just focus on referring to them as organic carts, it helps eliminate some of the confusion versus green waste and food waste, and just all organics can go in.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Our next agenda item is the fats, oil, and grease annual assessment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the committee may or may not know one of the big culprits for an SSO is fog, fats, oil, and grease. We hope you don't pour your grease down your kitchen sink because that does cause sewer spills. The grease, what it does, it sticks to your pipes, and then as you continue pouring grease down your pipes, the more grease that sticks onto the existing grease, and it keeps on building, and eventually it closes up the pipe. And then you're going to have a backup in your home, or we're going to have a backup in the streets. And so it's a state law that requires all sanitary agencies to have a fog control program, because prior to that regulations, there were so many sewer spills caused by grease. Well, the great thing about Costa Mesa, we have so many fantastic restaurants. Unfortunately, we just can't enjoy them right now because of the pandemic, but there are so many great restaurants. And one of the requirements these restaurants have to do is follow our fog control program, which requires them to put in a grease interceptor or a grease trap, which is plumbed into their plumbing system, and it collects the grease and it prevents any of that grease going into the system. So we, as you know, that's a lot of work to go out and make sure that they're following their proper maintenance of the grease interceptors, making sure they're using best management practices. So we hired Environmental to be our inspectors, basically our enforcers that go out and talk to the restaurants and making sure that they're in compliance with our fog control program. The challenge that we face is really on the residential side. When we have an SSO, it's usually caused by a resident, but it's just hard to pinpoint where that comes from. And we do offer some programs for residents to recycle their grease. Again, one is you can put your grease in a compostable bag and put that in your organics cart. The anaerobic digestion facility loves grease. Prior to the pandemic and OCC Recycling Center closing, we had a very successful recycling drop-off, a grease recycling drop-off program at OCC, especially during the holidays when people are frying their turkeys. They can pour their grease they give the grease to workers at OCC, and they put it in the vats. And then we have a contractor that comes over and collects that grease, and that grease is actually recycled in reusable products like the candles. But unfortunately, with the recycling center closed, residents are going to have to pour their grease in a compostable bag and put it in the organics cart. For tonight, though, we have Joe Jenkins here for us, and he is going to give you a PowerPoint presentation about our enforcement activities with the restaurants and what AEC does to ensure that the restaurants are in compliance. And then after his presentations, we'll open up for any questions or comments. So I'll turn it over for you're up.
Are you muted?
Ready to go, Joe?
Can you hear me?
Can
everyone hear me? I think the Zoom keeps freezing on me for some reason.
There you go. We can hear you now.
Okay, good. So,
And I'll run your PowerPoint for you, Joe. Just let me know when to change slides, please.
Okay, great. So we can go to the next slide. So before we get into the details of the district fog control program, I'm sorry, I think we're on. I just wanted to talk, I guess, first about the different fog program activities and summarize them more. Scott gave a pretty good, background of what fog is and the problems it can cause leading to sanitary sewer overflows. And so this is just more of an overview of the program itself. First, what we do is we conduct what we call risk-based FSC inspection and prioritization activities. The idea with that is that we want to focus district's resources on the food service establishments that risk to discharge significant fog to the sewer system, which could cause the sanitary sewer overflow. So that's restaurants with a lot of grease production, large grease interceptors, and they're also discharging to what we call enhanced maintenance locations. During those inspections, we provide the facilities with fog control program education and outreach materials we really look at the inspections as an opportunity to educate the facilities on the fog control program. For some facilities, they require additional enforcement actions, and so we also work to coordinate those actions through enforcement letters and occasionally fines. It's actually very rare that we have to issue a fine to a food service establishment, and they usually do a pretty good job of getting back into compliance when we identify something that's they're out of compliance on. We store all of the inspection data and FSC information in a centralized access database. We have inspections going all the way back to, and activity going all the way back to 2005 and 6 in the database, and so we have a good history of everyone in there. We assist the district with plan review for new food service establishments or facilities undergoing a remodel, make sure they're installing the proper type of street sticker standard. And then we also assist with fog source characterization and review of the enhanced magnification and reduction, and that program has been going well. Okay, next slide, please. So how we develop our FSC inventory, we use a lot of different resources. Throughout the year, we'll review those resources of the database. We look at the county healthcare and review. We coordinate with the city to go through business licenses, through the planning process, plans. So we've had, a lot of turnover since January 2017, where we recently identified 91 new facilities, and then we try to get out to them within 2 years of opening to make sure we give them all their materials and everything they need to maintain compliance. A lot of these new facilities, what we'll identify them that they took a lot of them. So we get the health safety list because everybody, including like shopping, grocery stores that aren't cooking food, and so we'll have to identify them as that, and then we remove them from the program. So next slide. We go out to inspect the facility for the first time. We review a few different elements here to help better categorize the facility and determine their fog discharge risk. So we look at the presence of any what we call high risk equipment, which is grills and griddles and fryers, types of equipment that's going to produce a lot of fat flows and grease. We look at their location and proximity to existing enhanced maintenance locations. So if they're just upstream and discharging fog, then we know that they're going to be a higher risk of maybe cause a SSO in that location. And just to clarify too, the EML, those are any areas of the sewer system that the district has to clean more frequently than annually. We identify if they have a grease interceptor or not. I'm sorry. If they have a grease interceptor or not. I might have to go back one more. There we go. And then we go over the kitchen best management requirements for that facility. All right, and now we can move on. So again, currently there's 730 facilities in our database. We expect over the next year, though, for this number to decrease dramatically. Again, I mentioned that a lot of the facilities that we recently put in could not be food service establishments. They could be, grocery stores or supermarkets that don't cook a lot of food. But then we also expect to see, because of COVID-19 and the economic strain that's causing on the restaurant industry, that a lot of facilities will simply be going out of business, unfortunately. How it breaks down currently is 55 we inspect on a quarterly basis, 85 semi-annually, 240 are done annually, and then the remaining 350 are biannual. And so those highest risk facilities that could cause an SSO in the district are quarterly and semi-annual. So we try and visit them often. And we adjust this throughout the year based on their compliance history and issues we may be having, and also clean crew observations and whatnot. Okay. And here is how we go about doing modifications to those inspection histories or inspection frequencies. So we look at the compliance history, maintenance crew and CCTV observations in the sewer line, any comments or notes we get from the healthcare agency, and then just inspection field observations. So illicit activities, are they having a lot of private sanitary sewer overflows, maybe a lot of spills from the grease septic, or restricted effluent issues? That's very common. So we want to make sure we're getting to those facilities a lot if they're having a lot of issues on their site. And again, if they're having a great compliance history and they're always in compliance when we go there, then we don't necessarily need to be going there quarterly, so we'll extend their inspection frequency also. Okay, we can go to the next one. So here's some examples of some of the inspection frequency modifications that we made. So without giving too much detail of the type of which facility it was, there was a major breakfast chain. We originally had them on an annual inspection frequency, but they did have frequent private sanitary sewer overflows. And so we recently increased their inspection frequency to quarterly, and they've also had to increase their hydrogenating of their sewer line. They're doing it on a monthly basis. So on a quarterly basis, we go and we confirm that they are doing it. Their hydrojet cleaning monthly. There's also a small shopping center that was originally on a quarterly inspection frequency. They had a lot of initial non-compliances for fog, which the rule there is that in their grease interceptors, they can't be more than 25% full of fat, oils, and grease. And so we had a lot of non-compliance issues. But then over the last year or two, they've had consistent compliance, and we saw a decrease actually in the EML cleaning frequency for the shopping center. And so we were able to adjust their frequency back to semi-annual. All right, next one. So this is a great statistics that I'd like to take a lot of credit for, but it actually is attributed to the complete program of the district. Both from regular sewer system line cleaning, rehabilitations of the sewer line in select areas, properly identifying the causes of these enhanced maintenance locations, and then also a lot of source control actions. But back in 2011, there were 97 total enhanced maintenance locations caused by any combination of root intrusion, structural deficiencies, and fog. But since then, the district has really worked hard on reducing these locations, and there's currently 18 within the district. And this doesn't include siphons. I think there's like six or seven siphons in the district, but these are 18 locations with legit structural issues. And so the goal here for continuing to reduce these locations is just continued rehabilitations of the sewer line wherever possible. Making lots of cleaning observations when the crews are out there, and then continuing source control. We've got a large focus on the shopping centers that just have a high density of restaurants discharging to one location. So we make sure we're there frequently, making sure the restaurants are staying in compliance. Okay, next slide. And here's some specific examples of some of the EML locations. So Paularino and Trinity area was one that at one point in time was a quarterly EML. So every 3 months, they're out there cleaning it. And then through source control, and then also some of the facilities installing grease interceptors. And the image on the right is actually of Paularino and Trinity. So you can see what it looked like back in, this is from 2010. And now recently it was moved to the annual clean list and off the EML list due to reduction in fog in this area. 19th Street, basically from Newport all the way down it. There's multiple FSCs there. They're older facilities, so we don't like the term grandfather, but they were there before the fog program started, so they don't have grease interceptors currently. And where the district has had a history of fog issues in this area. And so we've increased the inspections of these facilities, BMP inspections. It's been very challenging to do BMP inspections during COVID-19 because you can't, go inside the facilities. We're trying to respect, their wishes and the health of their staff. But we have had an increase of inspections in these areas. And the camp and the lab is another one that has multiple facilities discharging to a single location. We work with the property owner frequently, and we've also increased fog inspections in this area. Okay, next slide. And so one of the key program trends we always look at is sanitary sewer overflows. From 14, 15 fiscal, so this is the fiscal years, so it's July to June. From 14-15 to the 17-18 fiscal year, the district had 0 fog-related SSOs, and then 1 in 18-19, and then 3 in 19-20. And we'll have to, look at some of these SSOs here and what were the causes. I think maybe one was residential, as Scott mentioned, which is very difficult to control. And another one was kind of like a burger being public and private. So, we want to look at why we're seeing an increase in spills, and then see if there's anything we can do to make changes to affect this. Okay. So just some of our recommendations that we usually come away with from these assessments is, continued the risk-based analysis of FSCs and prioritize FSC inspections on high-risk facilities. Continue source control and enhanced maintenance locations. So that kind of goes along with that, working closely with the property managers and evaluating FSCs who are on conditional waivers to determine if any do need to install grease interceptors. And then FSC inspections and enforcement focusing on, again, on the chronic non-compliance issues and excessive fog discharge. Okay. So we can open it up to questions. I know I maybe went through that a little bit quick, and it was maybe kind of high level numbers there, but if anybody has any questions, I'm definitely open to it.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. I appreciate your presenting this. I see this is a slightly different presentation than what was included in our packet for this meeting, but I see based on the date on the bottom, we'll eventually have this as part of our minutes package, I assume. Very interesting presentation.
Yeah, the other presentation was more fog in general and fog overview in general, so it didn't really have as many of the statistics that is typically included in the annual assessment.
Yeah. I, for one, appreciate the additional detail.
Oh, great.
Are there any other comments or questions or input from Mr. Jenkins?
Excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, hearing no other comments or questions, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is the additional public comment, right? Where are we at here?
Committee members and staff comments.
Comments, yeah, comments, or committee member and staff comments. Would anybody like to speak?
This is Sue. I would. Shock, I know. Is it okay? Is it okay if I go ahead?
Let's see, do we have any other, who else is on there?
Committee member Katz as well. Has
I
raised
can
her
go
hand.
after
Yeah.
you. It's okay.
Would you like to go first, Sue, or would you like Elodie to go first?
It doesn't matter.
You can go. It's okay.
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
Okay. I would like to, on behalf of the CAC, extend my deepest, all of our deepest condolences to President Ferryman and his family on the passing of his son, Ryan. And I would request, out of respect for President Ferryman and his family, and in support of his family, and in appreciation of all of his contributions to the Costa Mesa Sanitary District family, I would like to request that we adjourn tonight's CAC meeting in memory of Ryan Ferryman.
Very nice.
I
Very
agree.
nice.
That's a very nice gesture. So,
You know, you could even close your meeting on that behalf. You know,
I agree with it.
when you adjourn it. In fact, he just texted me as you were talking, Sue. Isn't that funny?
He felt it.
yeah, right.
So that's it. That's my additional comment.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. After all other committee member comments, we will adjourn the meeting in honor of Ryan Ferryman.
Very nice.
Ms. Katz, Co-Chair Katz, would you like to make your comments?
You know, I think I'll just email Nabila offline. It's okay. I think we should consider closing the meeting on that note. I didn't realize Ryan had passed. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you could just, if you, Vice Chair Katz, if you want, just email Nabila. She'll respond to you right away.
Okay, I'll email Nabila. It's okay. It's not pressing.
Okay, Committee Member Fernandez, would you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to bring up an agenda item from May 13th that we tabled. It's a sewer master plan update. I just wanted to know if, are we doing that in the future, or are we no?
Yes, thank you for reminding us. Yes, we will bring that back. We'll put that on the list and bring that back for the CAC to review and discuss.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, we will adjourn this meeting at 6:23 in honor and memoriam of Mr. Ryan Ferryman. Thank you all very much for your attention. We'll adjourn this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.